Hi everyone and welcome back to the channel. Today we are diving into the world of KDP, specifically low content books. I'm going to run through the 10 best low content ideas that you can use to get started on KDP. Whether you've started a business or you're looking to create some passive income, low content books can be made with minimal effort. And I say that very lightly. Before we get started, I'm Allison and I make videos about creating things from arts and crafts to KDP and everything in between. If you enjoy this video, please feel free to give me a like and subscribe. If you are new to KDP, there are 3 different types of KDP styles, I guess you'd call them, and they are low, medium and high content. Today I'm focusing on low content. Low content books are a really great way to get started on the KDP platform, particularly if you're a beginner. If you have a computer and an idea, then you are ready to go. So grab a pen and get ready to jot down some profitable ideas. The first low content book idea is journals and planners. This is a classic and ever popular niche. From gratitude journals to planners to self-help journals, the possibilities are pretty endless. You can target specific demographics, like if you wanted to focus in on students or you wanted to focus on teachers or a particular business or some other form of productivity that requires some sort of plan, I don't know, like beekeeping or like something like that. So these journals or planners, they can be created in a program called Canva. Now Canva has a free option and journals and planners can be made in Canva without buying the pro option. You really don't require anything more than some creative publishing skills. You can also create the internal content for these books using things like Word and PowerPoint. However, I find that when you're trying to move elements around on those pages, it gets a little tricky, so I prefer Canva. I find it really easy to manipulate and move things around. If you're stuck for some ideas about journals and planners, then I highly recommend that you visit a site like Creative Fabrica. In fact, Creative Fabrica is a terrific site for scouting for ideas and inspiration. If you have a membership to Creative Fabrica, and I know that it's on special at the moment, I just popped on there this morning to take a look. It's $3.99 a month, I think, if you purchase it now, so it's a pretty good deal. I'll put a link in the description below if you're interested. So when you go into Creative Fabrica, you will have access to KDP content that's already been generated by somebody else that you can use. Just a word of caution, however, if you are downloading that, I highly suggest that you put some creative flair or originality and mix it up a little bit, because everybody else is also downloading from a Creative Fabrica and you don't want to end up with a product that is the same, because Amazon's guidelines are that they do not like repetitive content, so just keep that in mind. So jazz it up a little bit with your own flair, and we'll talk a little bit more about that later. Another terrific paid tool for creating low content books is BookBolt. I did and I have and I still do use this to create books. It has got some very generic low content pages, just ruled lines or dot grid books and things like that. So that kind of thing you can use over and over again, and then you can focus in on your covers depending on what it is that you're creating that particular journal for. The great thing about BookBolt is that it organizes all the bleeds and the margins and the page layout for you. So all you need to do is apply the template and you don't need to worry about that. And if you are looking at doing the cover, it will also have those margins set out for you. So for a beginner who perhaps you don't know a lot about bleeds, margins and page layouts, this is a really good option for you. However, it is paid. You do have the option within BookBolt to add graphics and elements to the pages that you create, which again gives it that unique flair that you might be looking for. Number 2 is adult colouring books, and adult colouring books are another great way to get started in KDP. They're a great stress reliever too, they're fun to colour, and there's a growing trend of mindfulness that people are using, and they're using those colouring in options to de-stress life. They are incredibly popular on KDP, so if you do go in and you start looking for colouring in books, you'll notice that there are thousands of them. It's a great way to kind of get a feel for what is available and maybe look for a way that you can create something that might be a little bit more unique. You will do far better if you don't copy something that is in the bestseller niche, but instead look for topics or themes that have less books competing with one another. The other thing that you can do when you're looking at colouring books is have a look at the covers that are being created there. Again, don't copy, but You know, what is it around those covers that attracted you to make you want to look at them, or maybe click on those books, and see if you can recreate that in a different way for yourself. I'll talk about covers and ways to design those in another video. That is the trick with most KDP books that you create. It's about looking for good demand, but with less competition. So you kind of got to find that balance, and there are tools out there that can help you. Do some research and look into that. In fact, BookBolt's one, but there are others, obviously. Publisher Rocket's another, there's a few of them. Or you can just stick to a method if you are a bit cash strapped and you're just starting out. Just go in and start searching in Amazon. The only thing I suggest you do there is make sure that you're not logged in, and that way it won't generate views based on your recommendations or things that you've searched for in the past. But you know, so log out of your account, go back into Amazon incognito, so to speak, and you'll get a little bit of a better idea of how things are ranking. That's just a tip. So colouring books, if you're not an artist, then don't fear. There are ways in which you can generate images for colouring in books. I've covered a few of them here on this channel, so you must go check out some of my previous videos. You can make use of AI programs, which are getting so much better these days. My preferred one is Midjourney. That's the one I started with, so I just kind of keep it there. There are some prompts that work better than others when it comes to generating AI colouring in pages. So what I'll do is I'll put together a little selection of those, and I'll pop it over on my PayHip store as a freebie. So if you want to see some of those prompts, or you want to try and use some of those prompts, you can download it there. Just check out the link in the description and you'll be able to have access to that. My only thing is just make sure that your AI looks good. It might sound obvious, but when you are going and having a look at the generated images that you've got, actually take a really good close look at them. Do they look good? Can you actually colour them in? Have they got too much shading? Do people have 12 fingers and maybe 2 to 3 legs? I don't know. Because AI is still doing some funny stuff, and you don't want to have an image in a book that is subpar, because that's not going to be good for the customer. It won't be good for your reviews. So when you are generating, it might mean you've got to do more generations through your AI, but at least get something that is of some sort of colouring quality as best you can, at least if you are using AI. So this does mean carefully examining and creating and curating images, which does take more time, but it's well worth it in the end. You can also take photos and use photo imaging software to convert it into line drawings. This is a bit hit and miss. I'm not seeing anything that is fantastic at doing this either, but it is another option. So Affinity and Procreate, you can do that in. You can also do that in Photoshop. The online tool that I find is really, really great for this is called a picture to line tool. And I'll put the link in the description again for that. I mentioned it in a previous video as well, but it is by far the best that I can use. So I basically put an AI generated image through that. It creates the colouring page, but then I do have one last step when I'm creating my colouring pages, and that is to vectorize the image. I find that it makes the lines bold and smooth and much better for colouring in pages. There's great scope within a colouring book niche, so if you are that way inclined and you've got the time and you have access to the tools, then this is a really good one to get into. So number 3 is Sudoku and puzzle books. These are really, really popular as well. People love a good brain teaser, and the great thing with puzzles is that you can create them for a broad range of challenging situations, from very young children to adults. You can do them in big print for the elderly. So you've got a lot of options here as well to be able to niche down into areas with puzzle books. They're incredibly popular, like I said, across KDP, and there's lots of online tools that you can use to help you with the creation of any puzzle books. I've mentioned BookBolt before, I am going to mention it here again, but BookBolt does have options for you to go in and create puzzles. So they have mazes, they have crosswords, hangman, cryptograms, they have a whole ton of them. And then when you have dropped that onto the page, it also generates an answer sheet for you that you can put at the end of your book, and you're able to use elements and images and things like that to jazz up the pages. So if you have a maze rather than just have a flat maze, you can create little characters and a little story and put some decorative elements around the outside of it to make it more appealing, particularly if you're making it for a young person. So from mazes, dot to dot, Sudoku, hangman, crosswords, or a combination of all of those in the one book, the possibilities are pretty endless for what you'll be able to create in that particular niche. But just make sure, like I said, you look for good demand, not too much competition. So that's the balance, that's the balance, that's the balance. Number 4 is guest books and travel journals. Now travel journals probably fits in with journals and planners. So now I'm going to say that number four is, I'm reading off here, you probably already figured that out, but I just can't remember all of this and I typed this up earlier. So number 4 is guest books. Guest books are another great low content option for you to create. You can create guest books for things like Airbnbs, for weddings, for birthdays, for any other special occasion, retirement, end of school leavers. I don't know. There's a ton of different guest books or memory books that you can make for so many different occasions, giving you endless options. And again, if you're a bit stuck as to what content to put inside of them, check out what they have on Creative Fabrica. You can download a few that are there that have already been created by people and pick out the best bits and mix things up a little bit and create something that is more unique and that has different elements that maybe are theme based. So for instance, if you're doing something for a graduating kinder, that would be really cute. You could have little boxes where the kinders could put a little hand stamp, or I don't know, something along those lines, write something in a little box. There's lots of things that you could do for kinder kids if you're doing a book like that, and you could decorate it with lots of school themed clip art, and you'd end up with something that was really quite special and memorable for the parents of kinder children. Number 5 is habit trackers and goal planner books. So the options for these types of books are also really plentiful. A fitness tracker where you're looking at goals in terms of weight and maybe elements of food and keeping track of different equipment that's being used in the gym. Or it could be a final financial planning type book where you have templates where you can keep track of that, with budgeting and debit tracking. So there's a few different options there, and that's just a couple. There's heaps that you could do. You can make your tracker and planner stand out if you're using things like progress bars, charts. You can have other visuals that are in there to help the person who has that book to keep track. And there's lots of variety that can be brought about by the different layout options. So you can do like a weekly one or a monthly one or a daily one. So you're catering for different user preferences as well. Number 6 is a little bit the same, but not really. It's logbooks and trackers. So logbooks and trackers are also really popular. So you can have gardening logs or pet trackers. So they're really just loggers and trackers that are really honing in on particular hobbies or interests that people might have. To make your book a little bit different from everything else, for instance, if you're doing like a garden tracker or a garden logbook, you could create a specific tracker for herbs, or for flowers, or for vegetables. So you can mix it up a little bit and branch out into all those different plant species. If you are doing a pet tracker, you could focus in on particularly dogs, or it could be chooks, or it could be cats, or it could be cows. You can take those particular books to the next level as well by adding in additional information that's relevant to that specific hobby or interest. For example, a gardening logbook could have some specific information there about planting guides, or a pet tracker, for example, could have something around vaccination schedules. So you can add other elements in there to make it a bit more interesting rather than have the same page, just repeat, like mix it up, have something different in there that sets your book apart from the rest. How are we going, guys? Are we good? We're getting there, right? We're up to number 7 now. Number 7, here it is. Number 7 is activity books and puzzle books for kids. So keeping those little kids entertained with fun activities and books. This could be while you're going on a journey, this could be at home, it might be a special interest book that the kids have. There are so many options here, and as a teacher, and I just worked out the other day, 30 years next year is how long I've been teaching for, and in the scope here is just enormous. It's absolutely enormous. The key, I can tell you, is really understanding your target audience. So younger kids might enjoy really simple activities like simple mazes and colouring and scissor skills and those kinds of things. Whereas if you're getting into the age, 8 to 10 bracket, they like a little bit more of a challenge. They like humour. I'll give you a big tip there, kids love humour. And they might want more complex puzzles and games. So really knowing your target audience is really important, because you don't want to pitch a book at a toddler and have some sort of cryptic puzzle in there that a toddler can't access. So just really knowing what kids can and can't do across those age groups so that they enjoy the puzzle book that's being purchased for them is really important. You can incorporate educational type activities just subtly into those puzzle books. And what I mean by that is a word search book, for instance, could focus in on particular sight words that a child would have to learn at that particular age, or a colouring book that's animals might have some facts about that animal that can be read, so they're learning something as they're colouring in. So things like that really set your book apart. Right, number 8 is recipe journals. Everybody that I know likes food, so I don't think anyone wouldn't like a book like this. It's one of those things that's going to perpetually stick around forever. So this one, what they call it, evergreen, I think they call books that tend to stick around forever. This could be an evergreen book. Having a place to document your favourite recipes and create a personalised cookbook, and you could have sections that are put into that book so that that person could have like breakfasts and desserts and mains and salads and any special dietary requirements, that kind of thing. You might even make a book, a foodie journal, that might be just specifically around a particular way of eating, such as if you're a vegetarian or you're a paleo, or maybe you're dieting and you're using keto. So you can branch into different areas with that particular journal and sort of target your audience that way. You could add things to this particular book like conversion tables. They're always really good. I know that when I'm reading recipe books, it gets really annoying. I've got a metal one stuck to my fridge so I can work out ounces and kilograms and all that kind of thing, depending on the recipe book. And even ample space just to write down notes and things like that. I always find with any recipe journal book, there's never enough space to write notes in, or any adaptations that you've made to those recipes. Right, moving along. Number 9 is workout journals and fitness planners. I did touch on this a little bit with the other one, and these are more about helping people keep on track with their fitness goals, their workout logs, and also their meal planning. So you could have sections for each of those. You can allow customers to track components of their workouts, exercises, sets, reps, weights, and also their progress. You could consider a space in the journal like that for things like calorie tracking, meal planning, and you can make it even extra special by sprinkling little inspirational quotes for that person as they are attaining their fitness goals, and maybe even including some templates that can be filled out for different workout types like strength training, cardio, or yoga. I don't know why that word was so hard to say. I've been talking a lot. All right, let's go to the next one. Our next idea for a low content journal, or a low content book I should say, self-help or wellness journals. Now this is an area that is so popular at the moment, and if you have the right combination, you can definitely sell some books in this niche if you focus on niching down. Remember, high demand, low competition. So these can be a great tool. Depending on how you create them, you might create them for mindfulness and providing some gratitude. You might do mood tracking. You might do some gratitude prompting. So you might add a few prompts into this particular type of low content book. These books do really, really well when you sort of clicking over into the new year as well. People make lots of resolutions. Fitness trackers will do the same. You know, you go, oh, next year I'm going to drink less, and, you know, I'm going to exercise more, I'm going to do this, and people are looking for books where they're going to keep a record of all of that. I know it's true because I do it myself. You could put in things like mood tracking scales or color-coded charts where you sort of write the name of the color and different colors mean different things on mood trackers. You could offer daily or weekly gratitude prompts that people can write under. You could add little mindfulness techniques that people could take on board and try out for themselves. Breathing exercises, journaling prompts, all to promote relaxation and stress reduction. Now, obviously, a big pro tip here is that I've been talking a lot about the internal components of a low content book. Don't forget the cover. The cover is also ultimately important. A visually appealing cover attracts attention on KDP. That is the first thing people see, and if they see a good one, they'll click on it. So I'm going to do another video around creating a cover and giving you some tips around that, because I think this video has been quite long. So make sure you subscribe so you don't miss that one. So that's it, everyone. These are just a few ideas to inspire your low content creativity. Remember, the key is not to just identify a niche with a dedicated audience, but to create a high quality book in the process. If you think about the sheer number and quantity of low content books that are spread all across Amazon, KDP, or Amazon books, I should say, what is going to make that buyer sitting in front of that computer screen buy your book? I mean, that's the big question, isn't it? So whilst it may take you a little bit extra time and effort, I think it's the attention to detail that you do put within your low content books that can set you apart from all the other books that are there. So you have two options. You can upload that generic content. It's fast, it's easy. You'll have books up in no time, and maybe, just maybe, you'll do really well and somebody's going to buy those books. You might have a golden nugget and have that book that everybody wants. Or you can focus on low content, but also bringing some quality to that low content book, and perhaps get an even better outcome in terms of customer sales and also repeat business down the track. What is clear to me in my experience in KDP so far is that it is not a get-rich-quick scheme. So I don't care what anyone else is spruiking online, it is not a get-rich-quick scheme. It does require some time, and perhaps it's probably best stated as it's not a sprint, it is a marathon. Whatever you do, don't be discouraged by what I'm saying here. Just be aware that there is some level of commitment if you are going to go down the track of creating books for KDP. And while you are taking your time creating something that has a little bit more quality, the get-rich-quickers will have come and gone, and it's probably going to leave you more space to be able to get your book out there anyway. So off they trot while you take advantage of doing some great stuff and making some great books. So hopefully this video has given you some inspiration and some ideas for getting out there and creating your own books. If you have enjoyed this video, don't forget to give me a like and subscribe so that you don't miss any other KDP content coming out. Just letting you know that I do diversify every now and then. Let me know in the comments what type of low content book that you might be thinking about creating next. And don't forget to hit that notification bell so that you don't miss a future episode. Thanks for watching, everyone, and I will see you in the next video.